Hello everyone! Today I'm going for a different kind of video, and first of all, I'm really sorry for my accent. I'm working on it, I promise. I'll do better next video. On this video, I'm drawing a gift for a friend of mine who is a huge Sakura Captor fan, and I'm gonna be showing you the speed paint of it while I talk about some general tips for beginner artists. Keep in mind that this is just my opinion as an art student, and these are some of the things that I realized and that helped me grow a little bit. And if you have a different opinion or you want to add your own tip, you can always leave your own comment on the comment section below. So, my very first tip is to practice every day. I know this is a really common tip and it's almost cliche, but you know, as an Olympic athlete or a professional musician, these people practice every single day to become the best in the world, and so anyone aspiring to be a top artist needs to hold themselves in the same standard. Of course, if you're feeling exhausted, you can always skip a day or two, but try to do some drawing sessions at least 3 days a week so you can keep your mind fit. Even so, remember that just practicing isn't enough, because you will end up drawing the same thing over and over again, and you will eventually reach a point of stagnation. So it's important to practice with specific goals in mind, which takes me to the second and most important tip in this tutorial. Which is to study. If you want to learn how to draw things, you must first have a clear picture of them in your mind. If I told you to draw my dog, you would probably have no clue what color the dog is, how thick his fur is, or what size the dog is. So, if you want to learn how to draw, for example, people, you should first take a look at lots of different people. You can learn people's shapes and expressions through gesture drawing, which are quick sketches that go from 30 seconds to 5 minutes, where you're required to quickly draw their outlines, their shadows, or their volume. These will look very crappy, and they're not supposed to look like masterpieces, but you will be surprised at how much you can learn from them. Also, they're really quick exercises you can do anywhere, and they don't require a creative mood, so you can even do them while you're feeling on an art block. I'll leave a link of an example of a gesture drawing practice video on the description below. For style practice, it's very useful to look at different artists, artists from different eras, artists with completely different styles, and try to read and understand the mentality behind their technique, because you will most likely find something that will be very useful in developing your own style or to help you drawing something you were finding hard before. For classical artists, you can read books or research on the internet, and thanks to social media, you can also watch many speed paints and see tutorials of contemporary artists. There's also lots of things to keep in mind while drawing that you should pay attention to and try to improve upon on each new drawing. Lines, colors, composition, anatomy, and perspective. You will find that the gesture drawing I mentioned before already helped you a lot with improving anatomy and perspective. Still, it's important to also study color theory and composition. Otherwise, you will have strong skills on a couple aspects of your art, but your drawing will always be lacking the rest of them. For color theory, I will leave a link on the description for a tutorial that I really liked, and as for composition, I can always recommend the Loomis books. It's also ridiculously important to try several different mediums and materials, especially while making gesture drawing. Some materials cannot be erased, and some just don't make lines, they make smudges, and they will force you to explore other types of drawing rather than the simple line drawing that can be erased like a pencil. Personally, as an almost exclusive digital anime artist for 5 years, I noticed a huge evolution on my anime art after I started doing all those things that I mentioned above, which, as you can imagine, didn't involve drawing anime at all. You also shouldn't avoid drawing any kind of theme. If you limit yourself to your comfort zone or only to the things that you like, you may end up stagnating in those things, simply because you're not pushing your boundaries outside of them. Who knows? You may even end up finding stuff that you never imagined you liked, or that you never imagined you would be good at until you try them, thus making you a more versatile artist. It's also highly recommendable that, as soon as you're feeling comfortable doing so, you post your art to social media. You will end up thrilled for more likes and critiques and interactions, which will push you to become a much greater artist and achieve more and more. And if you see how your artwork will look on a website, you will be comparing it to other people's, and this will help you visualize your goals more clearly. If all you have to compare yourself to is your friends or your classmates, then your standards will naturally be much lower if you compare yourself to a bigger amount of people, which will include artists far better than the artists you may eventually know personally. But of course, everything has its downsides. Exposing your art to the world will naturally open door to critiques. And it's important to learn how to give and receive critiques. I think I will make a whole new video on this topic in the future, but keep in mind that you should always be open-minded and try to not take constructive criticism personally. It's meant to help you to improve, if done correctly, of course. Remember that your art skill doesn't mean anything about your personal value. You should always try to be your own critic. It may be a somewhat painful process, but it will lead you to great results if you analyze each piece you do and you find aspects you need to improve on your next drawing. Time for an extra tip. If you're clueless on where to improve, try flipping your drawing either digitally or against a backlight, and the mistakes will pop up instantly. And finally, remember to be patient. Improving in art takes years of hard work and everyday practice, study, and exposure to art. No one was ever born already knowing how to draw. Even the greatest artists you know were once beginners, I can promise you. Patience is key, and don't feel the need to make each of your works and practices a masterpiece. It's very important to frequently make finished pieces, but equally important to make lots of studies and doodles. If you focus on only making doodles or only making finished pieces, you will either end up not realizing what you need to make a good finished picture, or stagnating with finished pictures that look all the same. The best artists I know may have one pretty sketchbook for show, but for each one of those, they have two sketchbooks filled with doodles and studies. Thank you for watching my video. I hope I was of some help. And don't forget to leave a comment below and, I don't know, like and subscribe for more speed paints and tutorials if you want to see them. And see you next time!